And we are live. Welcome to the Awesome Dynamics Show. This is our webinar to help folks improve their online presence, whether that's getting in front of other people on Google, trying to get in front of your competitors, trying to rank for particular keywords, wondering why people come to your website but they never get a hold of you, or you don't get people calling you. Those are all different things that we can help you with. So as you are a part of this webinar, you can ask us questions. There's a little Q&A button on the left side of your screen. So if at any point in time you want to ask us a specific question about your specific online marketing issues, we would be happy to answer those for you. With me today, we have a few new people. Of course, Robin's already sharing her screen, but Robin's with us. She's showing our Google listing right now on her screen. We also got, and she runs the SEO for Awesome Dynamic. Is she flipping back? So say hi, Robin. All right. So we also have, as usual, Terry Levin. He's our sales director. So he's always joining us to learn more about what we do, so he's better at selling it. You want to say hi, Terry?
Good afternoon, everybody.
All right, and I'll let Paul Fiorelli, who's with us, introduce himself. Paul, you want to introduce yourself and who you are in your business?
Sure, I'm Paul Fiorelli from Fiorelli Graphics and Printing in Libertyville. Along with me today is one of my employees, Dan Bockout, and Dan is actually away from his desk right now because since we started this webinar, we've already gotten a brand new customer. That's how cool it is. No, Dan, he should be back in a moment. He is dealing with a customer right now. Briefly, I've been working with Paul for approximately 5 years now. Would you say is that about right, Paul?
Yeah, I think so.
And we do everything from the conceptual idea all the way through the printed material. We also do websites, and Paul handles probably 99% of our back-end work.
Fantastic. And then, Paul, would you mind sharing the story about how we met? Because sure. I remember that was an interesting.
I just shared that with Terry today. Being in graphics for over 35 years now, and then buying a printing company 18 years ago, I got to a point where we were doing virtually everything but websites. And I would design a logo for a customer, do their flyers, their brochures, whatever their printed collateral they needed, we were able to provide. But when the website became part of marketing and helping businesses, it's something that I wasn't really knowledgeable in. So I lost some customers along the way. And what was frustrating is there were a lot of so-called web designers out there. The problem with these so-called web designers, they weren't really true designers any more than I was a web developer, because I couldn't develop anything other than make a pretty picture. I've used the analogy for several years now that Paul and I are kind of an architect and the builder. I can come in and do an architectural rendering on a new home, but you wouldn't want me pouring the concrete and running the electric or doing the plumbing. You'd probably fall to your death. But I can make it look very, very nice. So about 7 or 8 years ago, I don't remember exactly when, I was frustrated with the fact that websites they didn't have the look that I wanted them to have, or the ones that we were designing, and we were sending them off to a developer, only to find that if I created somebody's identity in their marketing materials, the website didn't seem to fit that brand, and it was mostly because it was created by somebody else, and they didn't really have the same vision that I had or the customer had. So I sent myself to school to learn website design. And it wasn't so much the design, once again it was the development. I also sent 2 of my staff, Dan Bockout and Dave Woods, to school as well. And from there we went to different classes at different times, and we would meet the next day and talk about what we learned. It was during the course of my class that, no disrespect to my particular teacher, but, and Paul didn't pay me to say this, I had questions regarding web development that the teacher seemed a little bit confused on, wasn't quite able to answer. But there was always a voice in the back of the crowd, and that was this young guy that seemed to have the answers for me. He was continually telling me what I needed to do. Well, the best thing about this class was the fact that I learned that this is not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to learn development. But I did ask Paul, I said, why aren't you teaching this class? He was very knowledgeable at the time, and based on his knowledge, I said, you're just the guy I'm looking for. Because I know a lot about design, and I know about how to make your image or your brand look good. I didn't know how to make the back end of the computer work, so the functionality of a website was a benefit to the customer. So this is where Paul came in play, and Paul at the same time was looking for somebody with a little bit of design experience that could help guide him and make his sites look better. So anyhow, we started out that way. We started out a few, and I said, I don't know to this day, Paul, probably you have a better idea how many websites we've done together. But myself as well as Dan is back now in the picture. By the way, this is Diane Bockout. Dan and I and Paul have worked on, as I said, I couldn't guess right now as to how many, but we've learned an awful lot from Paul, and I think Paul has done the same with us. Pretty much what you wanted, Paul?
Yeah, that's excellent, and I think we've done at least 100 websites, if not more. I would venture to guess a lot more than that. So, but yeah, thank you for sharing that. So usually on this webinar, thank you for introducing yourself. Dan, did you want Dan to introduce himself as well?
Sure, absolutely.
So Dan, you'll just have to unmute for a moment there.
Hi, I'm Dan Bockout. I work with Paul Fiorelli. I'm a graphic artist. What else do you want to know?
That's it for now. So, and Dan, if you want to go back on mute, that's fine. So usually what we'll do, we have some viewers on the webinar now, and if there are any questions, we always like to remind them throughout the webinar. And right now I have the screen displaying Paul, so I'm gonna put it back on mine so I can actually determine who everyone is looking at. So. Usually what we do is we ask if anybody that's on the webinar has any specific questions. So there's a lot of questions about how does SEO work, what can I do to improve my website, kind of the stuff that I started with at the beginning here. And if they have any specific questions, we like to help them out with their specific situation. So we'll go and share our screen, which is something that Robin's already doing, and we'll flip over to hers in just a second. But we'll share our screen, look at their website, and give them advice on what they can do to improve their situation, whether that's something as simple as, you don't have their phone number on your page, so how are people supposed to call you, to getting into some of the more technical aspects of why things work the way they do, for ranking or for whatever the situation is. So typically that's what we do. If there's no one asking any questions, or sometimes we'll say just share who you are and what your website is, and we'll just do like a general audit, and we'll just take a look at their website presence and just give them general suggestions based on what we see if they don't have a specific question. So I also, because Terry's out there selling what we do, I'll also ask Terry if he's gotten any questions from customers that he wasn't able to answer, which are also makes for great topics. And Paul, I would like you to ask any questions that you might have about anything and how it works, because this webinar is recorded and it gets added to our to one of our websites. And we actually see that more people go back and watch the webinars after they happen than are attending, at least at this point. So they do live on and still deliver valuable information to people who watch them later on down the line. So with that being said, Robin's got a couple things that we typically do, which is share just some of the different things we do. So I'm going to go over to her screen. Now, because you are in the webinar, Paul, you're able to click on the picture on the bottom you want to look at. The people who attend the webinar who aren't the hosts, they look at whatever I designate. So you don't have to look at what I designate, but they do. So I'm going to switch to Robin's screen. You can see hers is you see hers is at the bottom, and hers is the only one that actually is showing a computer screen. So I'm gonna show that to everyone that's on the webinar watching, and then. Robin, if you would just go to our homepage really quick. Usually what we do is talk about the different things we have. So she's pulling up awesomedynamic.com. And we just like to remind people what we do. We do the search engine optimization, which is getting found on Google. Let's see. You got a phone ringing there. search engine optimization. Responsive web design is basically mobile-friendly web design. Amazon seller consulting, and that's just helping you get your product sold on Google. And then there's Google Maps Business View, which is the virtual tours of the inside of the businesses. So that's essentially what we do here. The Amazon, I just want to make a quick comment on the Amazon stuff. This is the time of year to sell on Amazon. I have a separate Amazon business that's going absolutely crazy because it's the holidays. Everybody's trying to buy a whole bunch of stuff. So you know, if you're looking to sell on Amazon, getting everything ready before the holidays is really important. Robin's scrolling down on our screen here to show us the couple places you can sign up. There's the Get on the Awesome list. We call it the Awesome list, where you can choose what you want to be notified about, and we'll get you on our list for either webinar notifications or anything else that we have here. Also, Robin, if you scroll up a little bit, if you ever want to come to another webinar, you see the free webinars here. You just click on these links to attend. So those are right on the homepage of awesomedynamic.com. And then next, Robin, you want to pull up the Academy page?
Sure.
So the Academy, Awesome Dynamic Academy, is a new product that we're going to be offering very soon. It's a do-it-yourself SEO program with over 100 lessons with videos and step-by-step instructions of how to do better online with ranking and everything else you could think of. Robin and Blake have been very hard at work writing all these different lessons. In parts of our webinars, and when we answer questions, we actually take snippets out and put them in as videos, very organized on what you should be doing to improve your online presence. So you can see that there's a lot of lessons here and a lot of information. So this is a product we're going to be selling. It's going to be a membership for $49 a month. I believe we're a week away from launching this product. We've been working on it for about 6 months now, but this is going to be something where people, SEO is expensive, and there's a lot of people selling it who actually don't really do anything. So this
how
is a
much
product,
could you expect to have SEO full service for each month?
we charge a minimum of $2,000 a month to really deliver SEO effectively to a client. So with so that's our full service option. Now we also do the consulting option where we help you one-on-one to do this, which can cost less. But this option is really inexpensive, but the onus is on you to do it. But the nice thing about it is you can come to these webinars and ask any questions that you have, should you have any, and there's also a support forum as well. Robin, you want to hit the pricing page there? So she's going to pull out the pricing page, and that's, it's a $49 a month, 7-day free trial. So in about a week, actually you can sign up now if you really want to, but we'll be officially launching this in about a week or so.
Paul, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Dan.
On that 7-day free trial, what would I actually see during that period?
What? Can you say that again?
During my 7-day free trial, I'm just wondering what people will actually see during that period. Yeah, you gotta put it on mute when I talk.
Yeah, Paul will have to. Paul, do you mind muting for just a second?
Oh, well,
Yeah, you got me a mute.
I guess it's...
Okay, so Dan, can you repeat it one more time? I had trouble hearing you. Now, Dan, you're on mute, actually. Does this bring back any memories, Terry?
It does. It does.
You can also type it in the chat.
Yeah, you can type it in the chat, but Dan, if you unmute your mic, then you can...
Get out of here. It's not.
No, I can hear you now.
How can you hear me now?
It says that you're not muted.
Okay.
Okay.
That's Paul that you're picking me up on. We got a mean feedback here.
Okay, turn your volume down just a little bit. That should keep the feedback.
One bar on that.
Okay. All right. So repeat your question one more time, if you would.
During the 7-day free trial, what do I get to see during that period? What's going to happen during my free trial that will really give me a taste of what's going on with this project?
Okay. So I will show you. So Robin, go to the lessons area on your screen. So you'll have access to every single lesson that we have in here, which is over 150 lessons. Right now, if you were to click on any of these things on the any of those links, this is Robin showing an example unit, so you can kind of get a snapshot of what the whole lesson looks like. But if you were to click on any of these different links that are here, right now they're blocked because you're not a member or Robin's not signed in as a member. But once she does sign in, then she'll be able to access these lessons. And the lessons are, there's introduction, why create a Google account, tips and tricks, here's a video tutorial for setting up the Google account, additional resources, and a summary to know how you finished. That's just this particular unit. And there's like 150 units, and we're going to constantly be adding more to it. So you actually get access to every single unit that's in there during the 7-day free trial. Is that a good answer? Thumbs up? Okay. All right. So that being said, that's the Academy. Now Robin's pulling up our blog. If you go to awesomedynamic.com and click on blog, we're always putting up new blog posts on different things that you could do to improve your online presence. And you can see the buttons in the upper right. Robin's showing off there. And then these webinars, those are all located in the Awesome Dynamic Academy. So there's a little webinar button at the top of that, and you can watch all these webinars. Usually we have Blake attend these webinars with us. He's our employee that works out of Florida, but he's usually taking show notes. So the different things we would be talking about now, he's actually notating them. Any sort of resources or links, he's putting into the show notes as well. So Robin, would you mind heading over to that real quick just to show what that looks like?
Sure. On the Academy?
Yeah.
All right.
So while she's pulling that up, Terry, any new questions you got from people you met with?
We may have touched on this a little bit briefly, but I thought it would be worth at least just a quick conversation, is what you were calling keyword stuffing.
Mm-hmm.
How that becomes an issue. So I think that's something that people are used to doing, and there's a lot of conversation about keywords and what stuffing is and why it's no longer such a good way to go. So if you wouldn't mind touching on that a little bit, I think that could be helpful.
Sure. I'll get to that in just a second. If you go back to Robin's screen here, she's showing the webinar that's posted here. So Robin, would you scroll to the top real quick? So she went to awesomedynamicacademy.com. There's a webinars button, and then that brings you to the past webinars. So you can actually watch all of them here. In the show notes, you'll see is the stuff underneath there, which has the timestamp and what was talked about. So we have a lot of, I don't even know how many we've done so far. I know we've done at least a dozen of these, if not more. So every Thursday. Anyway, Terry, to answer your question, keyword stuffing is something that a lot of people do. Essentially what it is someone will put a whole bunch of keywords, try and rank all the keywords on one page. I'm trying to think of an example of one that I've seen recently of them doing that, but I can't think of one.
Here, I've got one.
You got one, Robin?
Yeah, I went to it today. So this is a plumber, since I've been looking at plumbers. And you can see it looks like a normal page, but at the bottom here, they just have bullet points of literally every keyword that you could. It's really not benefiting the customer who's reading it. It's just keywords that they're listing on the page.
And then see at the bottom they have links down there too?
Yeah.
Plumbing Service Chicago, Emergency Plumbing Chicago. So this technique of stuffing a whole bunch of keywords into the page to try and get the page to rank for it used to work like 3 to 5 years ago. But nowadays it doesn't work that way. In fact, Google penalizes it. You want to choose one word for the page. So, some people will say to me, well, I want to rank for all these keywords. Okay, that's possible. What you need to do is create a page or a blog post for each keyword you want to rank for, and each of those different pages or posts need to have fresh, unique content that doesn't exist anywhere else in the website. So I've seen plenty of places that just they may have a separate page for each thing. So that was another iteration that happened like a couple of years ago, where people were having separate pages for each keyword, but it would be the exact same text, but then they just switch out the keyword. So they have the same paragraphs, and Google penalizes for that as well now. So and the reason they're doing this penalization, so to speak, is because they want to provide good quality results to their customers, which is us searching online. So when we search online, they want to make sure that what you're getting to is high quality content that satisfies you when you search for that information. So just taking the same paragraph and swapping out the keyword and making a whole bunch of pages in your website isn't beneficial to anyone. It's not beneficial to humans. So the way to create a situation where that works is you create fresh new content that that's relevant to the keyword, and then you can reasonably rank for it. So Robin, you got an example up here. Do you want to tell us about what you see here?
Yeah, so this I've seen happen, completely on accident when someone's writing about a specific subject, but this is a great example of, custom cigar humidors and custom cigar humidors. Humidor. Without the S, I mean, it's still keyword stuffing even if you keep changing it, and you can see how many times they write it in one paragraph. Usually we recommend, if you're writing a blog entirely about a keyword, that you would only write the exact keyword no more than 5 times, plus you'll have it in the images and in the back and the metadata, but on the actual visible page, probably around 5 or 6 times at the most, and we're talking about at least a 600-word article.
Right.
So what you can do to vary that is use different variations, like without the S, with the S, or you can use a synonym for it so that it's not really keyword stuffing, it's more natural, like how humans would talk. And yeah, it'll show up to Google much better that way.
Right. So again, the end goal is to deliver the best human experience possible. So this doesn't benefit anybody. Reading this sentence that you have up on the screen, Robin, is just BS. So that's essentially this term is content is king. If you write really high quality content, then you will never have a problem. But if you're trying to stuff the keyword in there too many times or do something specifically,
That's a funny one.
is it keyword stuffing is bad? All right. So yeah, you just don't want to do it. Now there are all sorts of different ways that you're allowed to put the keywords in, and that's what we teach. So the image, the file name of the image that you put on your website, you can put the keyword in the file name of the image. So instead of what your phone names it when you take a picture or your camera names it, like IMG0036, you can actually rename that photo to be the word keyword stuffing if you're trying to rank for it, or to plumber. But if you look at this guy's website, go ahead and
I can do the page source, and I can see it. I checked it earlier today, actually. So if I looked for like the pictures, you can see that all the images are kind of just JPEGs with numbers. So here's an image. Here's an image. You can see Plumbing Service Chicago is about the farthest that they go, but a lot of the images just have all these numbers, and they're all capitalized. I mean, they have some dashes. Some are named, some aren't. You want to name it sort of like this, hot water heater installation, but you want it all lowercase with dashes, and that makes a huge difference because Google can now read your pictures as if they were text.
And you can see that this particular guy is just putting a whole bunch of different keywords on this one page. So there's no focus to it. It's just completely. There's just too many different things going on. You're sending mixed signals to Google. What should this page rank for? So it's not going to see all these words on there and rank you for all of them. It likes to see one page about one particular topic or keyword.
Right, and the purpose of that is when someone Googles something, say they Google, basement waterproofing, that they get to a page that's all about basement waterproofing. They don't want to see something about, flooding control system. They only want to see that one specific one. So Google's goal is to organize the information so that you get the exact answer and you don't have to click around more than once.
Now, if you would, Robin, go back to the front end of this page here. Oh, no, I'm sorry, go to the back end. And then look for the, scroll up to the top. I want to see what they did in the, see the meta name keywords? It's line 18 there. See that one?
Yeah.
So look at how many keywords they're saying, Chicago plumber, sewer service plumbing, toilet repair, toilet installation, plumber repair, plumbing estimates, drain. drain cleaning, drain repair, flood. So if they really wanted to rank for all these things, they should have a separate page for each one of these words, and then customize or optimize that page completely around each one of those words. Then they'd rank for all those words like really well. So that answer your question, Terry? A little bit more in-depth answer to that?
Sure does.
All right. Paul, do you have any questions about anything about SEO that I could answer?
Hold on, can you hear me, Paul?
Yes, I can.
No, but I wanted to add just to your viewers here that whether Paul's designing a site or you're supplying the content to somebody, a lot of times what we've done, just to go back what Paul said before, we had a customer, landscape customer, and a lot of the photography, we did in fact change the names of those photographs from that had something to do with his business. It really is important. I remember that even in school, that taking a photograph instead of it being image 1 and calling it landscape development or whatever the words were that tied in is critical and really does help. I'm glad to hear that still works, because I remember going through our library on our file and selecting names of if I have to do a search for a brochure and I'm looking for an apple, I would find that it was named something completely different, and that was simply because we had named it for a website. So it's a huge benefit. I'm just reiterating what Paul said before. So have your artist or designer, whether it's me or Paul or anybody else, change those names before you provide it to your website developer. I think it would benefit you overall.
Absolutely. So, Paul, what kind of questions? So, when someone comes in, because I know you explain SEO to people all the time, what are some of the questions that you get you get most often from people that come in and ask you about it?
Is he talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Paul, because I got Dan's. Can you turn yours down, Dan? Because I can't hear this one.
Well, I shouldn't hear it, Paul. So
Okay.
next time I'll get another room.
All right. Can you hear me, Paul?
Yes, I can.
All right. Now I can hear you. I'm sorry. I did not hear that question.
What are some of the questions you get most often from people that ask you about SEO?
Well, first off, what is it? I think it's a word now that's just relatively still new. People will come in here. I've been having people come in my office for years and saying, "Hey, I need a website." And well, websites are all over the place now. So now I'm really pushing SEO. I use the analogy, and I'm just kind of telling your viewers out there that I've been printing literature for years and years and years, over 30 years. And I tell a customer that I can print you 10,000 brochures, 20,000 brochures. And if I give them to you and you bring them home and you stick them in a closet and you cover them up, nobody's ever going to find out about your business. Well, I can design you a very nice website. We can design you a multiple-page website, a 100-page website. But if it's out there on the internet, it's just like putting it in your closet. SEO is critical and so important because the internet is a lot bigger than people can imagine. And just having a nice website doesn't mean anybody's going to find it. So lately I've been kind of preaching the importance of SEO. I explain to them what it is, but it takes a few minutes because we used to get complaints all the time from people where we would design a nice website for them, and then I'd get a call or they'd stop in a month later and say, "Hey, nobody's calling me. My phone is not ringing. Nobody can find me." Well, that was before I even knew what SEO was. So then I would call Paul and blame it on him. Until I began to understand the importance of it. And as this continues to transition, and when I say continues to transition, the way we do web pages today is completely different than we did it a year ago, completely different than we did it 5 years ago. But the point being is SEO is becoming kind of a buzzword in the industry. And I don't mean in the web development industry, out there in the public, in the branding of your product, in the business world. And it's really important that you understand the importance of it. There are lousy websites out there that get a lot of action simply because of their ranking. And there are some beautiful sites with some great products and great services that are buried that most people are never going to find. because the SEO part is, I think, probably more important than even so the design and the layout of the site. People don't want to spend a lot of time when they go online and search, and it's fun for a few minutes, but you get bored. They want to find something immediately, and that those first couple of pages, actually the first pages, is critical, and that all has to do with SEO. So I find myself in responding to your question, Paul, talking more to the customer now about SEO than about any other facet of web design.
That's interesting, but I would still say, I always tell people there's two sides to SEO. There's the technical piece of why you rank, and then there's the human piece of how someone feels and how someone actually converts from a website visitor into a customer. And that's where a lot of what I learned from you about having that slideshow with the short snippets of text to tell the story about what the site is about or what the business is about right away, so you're not having to be confused about what it's about. And then having a call to action button, having the phone number up there. There's just so many things that aren't really technical things. It's how to appeal to someone's emotions and make them want to do business with you with how you make them feel. So if you have pictures of happy people on your website, then people think that if they do business with you, they'll be happy. And a lot of people don't think about that aspect of what I call the human side of SEO. So Robin's actually pulled up your ranking report, Paul, because we've been doing some SEO for you for a while. So I figured I asked her to pull this up so we can take a look at some of the different things that are happening with your website as a result of some of the work we've done here. So if you don't see Robin's screen, Paul, you just click on her screen down at the bottom. I don't know.
I've got it up, Paul. Thanks.
Cool. And then please jump in with any question you have. And effectively, what we're about to do now, is part of how we run some of our consulting SEOs. This is what we call our rank tracker or rank checker report.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows each keyword. And Robin, if you scroll up just a little bit, you can see, what are these columns. So this particular report shows, there's the first one is Google, then Google Maps, and then Yahoo, Yahoo Local, and then Bing Local. And this will, from week to week to week to week, track where you are for all the different key terms that we're tracking for you or working on.
Yeah, instead of going to Google and typing in printing in Libertyville and checking it every day, you can just go to this report and we'll tell you exactly where you are in Google.
Right. So this particular this particular report shows you all that information in a snapshot, and it updates weekly, and it shows trending, which is really valuable to us because as we do SEO, we're always wanting we want to measure that we're making improvements based on the actions that we're taking. So Robin, you had that one down there, graphic designer in Libertyville, in Mundelein. So you could see that in Mundelein, if someone searches that term, you're the #1 ranking. So and that's one town over from where you are, which is excellent. So Robin's going to show you the screen capture. Sometimes this report will, because it runs on either a Sunday or a Monday, and sometimes what you search right this second isn't the same, but our report will
That's
actually...
what I was going to ask. This changes on a somewhat regular basis, correct?
Yeah, it could change. I mean, from
hourly.
Hourly, minutely, if that's a term. But it's constantly. But Robin just did a real search for it right now, and you are coming up #1 result. And you look at
local pack. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is the little local pack, and the ads are above you, but 30% of people click on the ads. 70% of people avoid them because they know that they're advertisements. So then this is the first natural, local information that comes up, and you can see that you're the #1 result. You're not the only one with the reviews. You see Signal Graphics underneath. They have 1 review, but they don't have the golden stars because they don't have 5. So once they get 5...
So the stars don't appear until after you've had 5?
That's correct. So when you get 5 reviews, then your stars show. Now that Signal Graphics, they may have 1 really bad review, or it could be 1 really good review, but without clicking on it, we wouldn't know. In fact, Robin, you want to click on it and see what it is? I'm curious. The 1 review.
Mm.
It's from me, Paul.
Well, you know that you joke, but it is a 5-star. You joke about that, but that's one reason why, and that's why we were helping you with this. One reason why we tell people to proactively get 5-star reviews from your happy customers, because if a malicious competitor or an unhappy customer is your first and only review, then your average is 1 star and you look terrible from the beginning. But if you get a whole bunch of 5 stars from your happy customers, then if you get a bad review from an unhappy customer, malicious competitor, at least your average is 4.9 instead of 1.
Now let me ask you this. Let's just say somebody, for whatever reason, decides to put in, maybe you haven't even done business with them. They can literally go on and write a bad review, and it's going to show up. Is that correct?
Right.
Yes.
What
Absolutely.
actions, if any, do you have as a business owner to retract that or defend it or
I would say
Maybe.
the first step would to be claim your Google account. So it's GUIBO.com. It's getyourbusinessonline.com. So you can check if your business is online already on Google My Business. So you just say check my business. And then once you claim your account, and then you have ownership and you can respond to reviews. So what I do is I put it on my phone, then I have the app. So if I ever get a review, I know the second I get a review, I get a notification. And I would recommend to respond to that review within 48 hours is the most immediate thing you can do. And then after, even if it's a bad review or you can probably take it down according to Google's guidelines. So all you have to do is say like Google My Business review guidelines, and they should pop right up. A review and photo policies. You can go through these policies, and if they are violating one of these policies, you can request from Google that they take down that review. For example, if they were never a customer and you have very good records and you can see that their name doesn't show up on there, you can get that review taken down by Google.
But what you're recommending, Robin, probably the first thing you want to do is actually respond back to the person that's left that review.
Right.
Is that what you recommend?
And I would recommend that for all your reviews, good or bad, respond within 48 hours. It gives you more content on your page. It makes it look like your page is updated, and it gives your customers more information. And
Okay, so this is something new to me. So you're saying if I get it, because some of the reviews I'm not even aware of, but you're saying what I should do is if I get a good review or even an intermediate review, I should respond to those immediately?
Yes, it builds more of a sense of community. It shows that you're interactive with your online clients, and if you want to build a reputation in the town is one thing, but building a reputation online is a whole nother thing.
I see.
So, and then the other thing is, if it is a bad review, a lot of people's gut reaction is they're angry, and then they take a defensive posture with their response, and that's probably the worst thing you could do. What you want to do is take the high road and have a very customer service centric response, and you basically want to make them look like they're crazy. So if they did say, I've never had this worst experience ever. I can't believe blah 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 blah. Then you would say, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I'm the owner, and I never. I always make sure that all my clients are 100% happy with everything that we do. So I don't know how this could even happen. Perhaps you're speaking of another location, or something like that, and then you'd wrap it up with, please contact me personally, as I want to make sure that we get this taken care of for you.
Sure.
So this way, when other people see all the 5 stars, and then they see that 1 star with your response that's very customer service centric, they'll see, wow, this owner really cares about their customers, so this guy must be crazy, because Fiorelli Graphics really pays attention to their reviews and takes care of their customers, etc.
Very much in the same way that you used to do with the telephone.
Yeah. Robin, what are you pulling up here?
Oh, I remember when I did Hansa Coffee when they had a bad review on Yelp. I mean, it was crazy, outrageous. There's a lot of inaccuracies, so you can see that the first step is always apologizing. And you know what? I can bring this up.
There's a great example that Robin did for Hansa Coffee.
I can pull this up really quick. the how to review or how to respond to reviews.
Oh, that blog that we wrote?
Yeah, so the first thing is like, make them look crazy. So for good reviews, you try to offer new information, but it's usually 1 to 3 paragraphs, I would say, to respond to a review. Not just like, if you just say thank you to your customers, that doesn't really add any new information. Okay, then I always start off with an apology. So this guy was a little bit crazy, but I started off with an apology that they didn't like the coffee. Then, they should immediately let the staff know we can fix it, we can give a refund. So you're already offering, anything that you can.
Solutions. Yeah.
Right. And then maybe if it was another business, you could be mistaking for another, reviewing another business if you have very similar names. I've seen that all the time on Yelp.
That happened to Divine in Grays Lake. They got a bad review, and they were specifically talking about a dish that they thought was horrible, and they got food poisoning. But it wasn't even on their menu. And then Mike found it was a place in California with the same name. So then he, in his review response, said, you're reviewing a restaurant in California on an Illinois restaurant.
And you want to respond first because that's the most immediate. It might take 2 to 3 months to get this bad review off of Google. Okay, and then you want to specifically address everything that the customer said in the review, and just kind of debunk them.
Take it up, Robin. If they remove a bad review because, like you said, there was a mix-up, is your ranking somewhat tainted even though it's gone?
Well, I mean,
do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So even if you do have a bad review, what really is the thing that affects your ranking is more of the stuff you do on your page and optimizing it. But when the reviews affect you, it's because you have a ton of negative reviews. So if you have 1 or 2, and you have, like, let's say you have 50 good reviews and 2 bad reviews, that's not going to affect your ranking.
I see.
Yeah. So
the 2 things that really affect it most is the average review. So what is your average, and also the velocity of how often you're getting reviews, and that it's steady. So those are 2 factors that we understand affect ranking, but they're a very tiny percentage.
Yeah, and towards the end of the review, if it's a bad review, I always say that they can contact you personally, so it looks like you're really extending a hand to them, to anyone who's reading this online.
Nice.
So, Robin, you want to go to the one for Hansa? I'd like to see what you wrote there.
Sure. I'm trying to find the bad review because that would make this more
helpful
effective.
to know it, yeah. I'm glad that you enjoyed Welcoming Atmosphere. We have over 5 years of loyal customers that visit Hansa Coffee for their daily cup. We appreciate your review, but I see that you only have 1 Yelp review total on the entire Yelp website. So what she's doing here is she's pointing out that this person hasn't reviewed anything ever before, but their first one happens to be one there. And
so they're not a reliable Yelp reviewer.
I remember that the owner of Hansa thought that this review came from either a former employee or a competitor or something like that. He had a feeling that it was that, which really syncs with the idea that this person only has 1 review. They just said, well, I got to do something to taint their reputation or online presence. So it says, you stated you had our coffee is $4. We have a range of affordable coffees from $2.50 to $5 for more specialty items. So say you didn't have to choose the $4 cup. The quality of our company is unmatched for the Libertyville and the North Shore area. For more affordable option, there's also the option to buy our premium 10-ounce coffee beans. And so basically saying, you could have even spent less money, and we have those options. We focus on quality coffee at a reasonable price, and our staff is here to serve you. So that's basically saying, if you want high-quality service and high-quality items, you might have to pay a little bit more money. I see that the Dr. Pepper and coffee, one of our signature drinks, is not one of your favorites. We do offer 45 other options of premium coffee. So this person probably complained about that one, but said that we have lots of other options. We pride ourselves on being an outstanding member of the community, and we do not practice any forms of worship or Satan. So this person was just basically over the top being crazy, saying like, how horrible I mean, again, it would be helpful to see the original review. I think the guy was just going off the deep end. So this whole thing about the Satan thing was just, it's kind of funny here. So anyway, that's what Robin. This is Robin's response. So Robin wrote this up for Hansa Coffee to post as their reply.
Yeah, let me see. Okay, I have the lowest rated ones first. They have tons of reviews though, which actually helps them a lot because you know, that one review is not really going to show up. But yeah, I'll take a look.
You'll take a look, see if you can find it.
Yeah.
So Paul, yeah, you have. Let's go back to Paul's 3-pack there. Do you still have that window still open?
I saw an A and a B on there. I was going to ask Robin about that, or Paul, you. Not go ahead and finish your 3-pack thing, but.
Yeah, so this 3-pack is essentially the local results that are there, and then you can see underneath that there's what we call the organic results. So you're actually showing up number 1 in the local area, and then you also have a result third in the organic area. So you can see Fiorelli Graphics and Printing.
And we can make the stars show up here as well.
Yeah, so you can actually make the stars show up there. So if you have testimonials, we can put those on the individual pages and have the little golden star show up on those as well. That's something you control completely on your own. You don't even need the customer to do anything on that. And having the gold stars on those types of those organic listings that are down there drastically increases what's called click-through ratio, or CTR.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to show me how to do that.
Yeah, so we will. Well, we're going to be. Nathan told me they started on your site, I think yesterday or today. So once we get that new website launch, we're going to put one testimonial on each page, which will put those little golden stars on there. But scroll down a little bit more,
just
Robin.
so you know, I think they took the review down because I did submit to take it down.
Oh, the one with Hansa?
Yeah, because there's only
Okay.
2 1-stars in.
Okay. So I think that we probably got Yelp to take down that bad review based on them just being over the top, probably some sort of defamation, naming specific employees. There's all sorts of technicalities you can use.
And
but it
also
takes
the
some
review
time.
response, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So then, Paul, you said you had a question. What was your question?
Was the page several before this one?
Oh, the ranking report?
Yeah.
I'll go back to that one.
The A?
Yeah, I see these A's, and yeah, there was an A there. I thought I saw a B before. This one looks like an E up in the under local. I was just wondering what those keys are.
So the local is right here, so this would be A, B, and C.
Can you go back to that one again, that other screen?
Sure.
Okay, so when I see B under printing in Libertyville, it's telling me I'm number 2 and I'm the B ranking, correct?
Right.
Right.
And this, it has the letters on it. Every Google page varies. I think they test out different pages at any certain time. So you could search a very similar term like printing in Libertyville and get different results. So you can see A, B, C.
I see. Okay, I saw it when you were briefly flipping through it before, and I saw the different keys. I wasn't sure what they alluded to.
Okay.
All right.
So Robin's showing all the different local results that come up.
Yep.
So
They only show 3 on the first page, but if you want more, you just click more.
So if you wonder how close you are to getting into that local pack there, you can actually click on that and see where you are in the list. So some people, we find that they're number 4, but because Google changed, it used to be a 7-pack, now it's a 3-pack. So that's something where, you know, to get up in here, that's what, Paul, that's why I keep asking about the address. One of the biggest factors of showing up in the local pack like that is having your address in as many different places all over the internet as possible, but 100% matching your Google listing. So that's so important.
No, there's not. There's no problem if you're sharing an address, correct?
Well, so you know,
Separate identity.
Sexton Companies, you know them. They have 7 zillion companies. We only know. Well, we're only got them set up for 7, but they have. They're all, you know, it's all in the same office, but we have suite A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So they're actually using the same address, but with different That one he specifically had changed because it was the which one? That's Sexton Properties PR. There was something weird with that one. But all their different companies have different addresses. This is a different company. It's the green website. So it's like sextoncompanies.com. There's Sexton Development.
Right.
So you'll see on the Sexton Development site in the upper right.
There you go.
49 Sherwood Terrace, A100. So I think he's probably got B100, C100, D100 for each of the different companies. So that's what he did there. So Robin, you want to head back to that ranking report real quick? So you see that for most of these terms, Robin, see if you can see one that has multiple rankings for the same key
I
term.
did. I didn't see one.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because there's limited citations, but
Right. But
I can go to a different one.
Yeah, you want to show Julie McLaughlin. She said we could share her thing anytime.
Okay.
So this is a chiropractor in Lake Bluff. And she's been working on her citations and she's doing the consulting SEO, and she's been just doing so much of what we've asked her to do.
Wow.
And you can see, for her name, so even just Dr. Julie McLaughlin, she's dominating essentially every position in the first, second, third page of Google for her name. So Dr. Julie McLaughlin, you can see organic. The first one's her website. The second one's a Facebook page. The third one is what happened?
Yeah. I was trying to click on the search result. Okay.
Okay. Rankings. Waiting for it to pull up here. So you can see, she's got YouTube videos ranking. That's see 11, 12, 13 there. Those are actually YouTube videos that are ranking really well.
Yeah, videos will rank that are connected to YouTube from your website will rank very high.
Yes. Your Yelp page.
Even short videos.
Yep. Number 7 there at the top was her Yelp page. Her Twitter page is ranking number 6. So the reason why all these things are showing up is because the name, address, and phone number is consistent. So if we actually look at the page here, and it's all interconnected.
Got 5 Google reviews. There's pictures here. There's filled out her Google Plus page with everything, her hours, and then we have, the home page. There's Facebook. There's healthgrades.com, which is considered a industry citation. And citation is just anything with name, address, and phone number. Twitter, you've got patch.com, so that's the local newspaper. Those rank very highly. Then you've got wellness.com is another industry citation, but a citation could be like facebook.com, it could be yellowpages.com. There's thousands of citations out there, and it's really important to fill out not just the well-known ones, but also the really tiny ones that probably you've never heard of.
So you want to go back to her report and just look at a non-branded key term. So that's for her name. But let's say we look at a service she offers. So
and you're saying stay consistent with everything as far as the spelling of the name,
right?
Addresses and how you instead of abbreviating, say street, you'd spell out street.
Well, so long as it matches your Google listing.
Yeah.
It has to match your Google listing. So typically the Google listings always had the abbreviation, but they never had the period. So you're on East. Is it Peterson Road or East or West or what is it for you?
You
have no idea. It's okay.
I was going to say north.
North Peterson Road.
I'm not sure, Paul.
So here it says 312 Peterson Road.
Yeah, so 312.
I don't think there's ever been an east or a west here, Paul.
Okay, so 312 Peterson Road, but you see it's RD and there's no period. That's a comma there. So, and then your business name is Fiorelli Graphics and Printing with an ampersand.
Right.
So,
not spell out and A-N-D.
Right. So it's important that every instance of anything that appears anywhere on the internet has those things exactly the way you see them there.
Okay, so if you go down and look over to the side on Fiorelli, the second one down, the Metro
Yelp.
Live, it says the second line, about us, Fiorelli Graphics and A-N-D. So it would be better to have an ampersand there.
Absolutely. Correct? Absolutely.
Yep, and something small like that, even a period here, can mean the difference between ranking on page 1 of Google and page 3 of Google.
Oh, okay.
Right. And there's, like Robin said, there's just hundreds of or thousands of these things out there. So Robin, check his Yelp page for a second, would you?
Sure.
Yeah. Dan just asked me, he says, so what do you do? Call Metro Alive and ask them to change that?
Basically, yes.
Yeah. In some cases, you have to call. I remember the Shanty restaurant up in Wadsworth. You know, they were on the Food Network, the Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives. There's actually a picture that one of his customers took of some food that looked like a penis, and they posted it on this website called Foodio54. And I tried to get in the site to take the picture down, but there's no way to go in there. So I actually researched the Foodio54 domain, found the contact information of the person who owned it, called the number. Some guy answered. It was an Arizona number. Some guy answered and said, hello. And I said, yeah, do you own the Foodio54 website? He's like, yeah, who is this? I said, I have a customer who has a picture on their profile on your website that has a picture of a pancake in the shape of a penis, and we want to get it out of there. They're a family restaurant. That's not appropriate. So he said, oh, yeah, no problem. I'll take it down right now. So that's how that happened, because I called the guy, and he's like, and how did you get my number? I said, I found it was on your domain. So he's probably marked it private. So he's not getting phone calls from people anymore. But sometimes that's the way you have to do things. It's not necessarily straightforward all the time. So when you're fixing citations or doing this stuff, sometimes it's not straight. That's the part that takes the longest, is figuring out how to get these people to change it. You know Main Street Libertyville, the organization in downtown Libertyville. We did that website. You did the design. I did the development end. You can't log into that website and change your own information on there. You actually have to call Al Scott and ask him to do it for you. So some of our clients have actually done that. So they call him, hey, I need you to make East Milwaukee AVE, no period. So that's what they'll tell them. So what were you saying, Paul?
I said, I'm even seeing some of the reviews here where people are writing reviews. Should they even in their reviews put in and?
Yeah, well, see, that's something where that part's not as important as the top part. So if you
I just want to.
Yeah. So see here, the title at the very top of the page?
Yes.
So that's correct.
If I went to edit, you can actually, Yelp is pretty easy. You can put in all of the information and then you submit the changes, but you do have to check back in, let's say, 2 months' time, usually is the average. Yeah, see if they actually did it. Otherwise, you have to fill out a support ticket, and if they don't do it through there, then you can call. So this one is actually a really easy one. Sometimes, or most of the time, what you have to do, you definitely have to have an account. So you would log in or make a new account, and I would suggest making a spam email for signing up for citations, because they start, sending you, once you have to sign up for hundreds of these citations to make a difference on your Google ranking, and they start sending you like spam, 3 times a day. So you definitely don't want to use your regular email.
Okay.
All right, we're at the end of our time. That time flies when you're having fun, right? Well, Paul, thank you for joining us. We actually had quite a few viewers come through.
Very interesting. Very informative.
Good.
We'll come back.
What's that?
I said we'd be happy to come back someday.
Okay, yeah, for sure. We actually have one more webinar next Thursday, and then we're going to be off for I don't think there's any during the Christmas and New Year's weeks, and then we'll be back every single Thursday going forward in January. They alternate between 12:30 and 3 o'clock. If you ever want to sign up, you can sign up for our email list. We'll actually notify you in our Monday newsletter, and again on the day of the webinar if you're on our email list. If you liked what you watched in this webinar, Robin, would you go to the Awesome Dynamic homepage and demonstrate how to leave us a review? Just go to Awesome.
It's not on there.
What's that? Well, here, just go down to the Google button. So
right,
if you
it's not
liked
there.
the Google button's not there?
No.
We'll have to talk to Brendan about that.
That's why I went to here.
Okay. So if you search, well, here, you can just search us on, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom to Google. There it is.
It's not on every page.
Okay. I'll have to talk to Brendan about that. So you click on that Google button, it'll bring you to our Google listing, and then there's a write a review button here. So just click on that write a review and leave us a 5-star review about how we were able to help you out with this information. We would really appreciate it. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions that you have. Again, we provide this information during the webinars at no charge, but we do have services to do all this stuff for you. So you can reach out to us. Terry's our sales director. He'll talk with you about getting set up something that fits your budget, so we can do this for you or teach you how to do it or whatever style you prefer.
Yeah, and we covered about maybe 2 topics during this webinar, or 2 or 3 topics. There's literally hundreds of things you can do for SEO.
Right, right. And we talked about the citations and reviews very briefly, but there's a lot of in-depth way of, when we do citations and train someone how to do it, it's usually 2 or 3 one-hour training sessions just to get you comfortable to start doing it well. So it's not hard to do. It's just something that people don't know how to do. So we have some tools that make it easy to track where you are with this stuff. We have special reports to show you if you're making progress and how quickly, etc. And just to revisit our Awesome Dynamic Academy, we have this do-it-yourself program. Again, it's going to be released soon. Pricing's $49 a month. A lot of the different things we talk about are just lessons in here. Shows you how to do it. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you joining us, Paul and Dan.
Thank you, Paul.
So thanks for coming, and love to have you guys on as a guest again, because I love the questions. So gives us a lot to talk about.
Well, yeah, and you know what? Maybe the next time, give us a heads up. We'll have plenty of questions for you.
Right. Okay. Very good. Very good.
Yeah. What's that?
Dan's watchful eye.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's something I think it would be great to have another webinar where we critique people's graphics on their website and how they can make them look more professional. I think that'd be a great topic for you.
You know what, Paul? That might even be good to go back in time and take a look at like an old website that we took from somebody, redesigned, and then you developed, and show them the progress about how the cleaner look and feel and the navigation really benefited their overall brand and look. That's if they're still in business.
Okay.
Anyhow. But thanks again. Great.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
All right.
Anyway. Yep.
Stay on the line.